First off, welcome back. Thank you very much for coming to the Fan Expo Dallas, and thanks for spending time with us this week. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, thank you.
I want to get this out of the way because the majority of the people in here who have never done a voiceover session or worked in VO wants to know, and we'll just get it out of the way quick, how do I get your job? So let's just start there and move forward, because I've done some VO projects before you. Your CV is ridiculously long. Have you looked at what you've done lately?
I don't look at what I've done unless I have to. If I look at what I've done, I'm looking that way, and life is that way and this way, you know?
Talk a little about your first session, because everybody gets into VO generally by just you go in as a gaggle of people, it's called a wall session.
It happens in many different ways. There's no single way to get in. I mean, for myself, I was a PA, production assistant, at a video studio next door to an audio studio, and they needed somebody, it was in Birmingham, Alabama, they needed someone who could talk without a southern accent and do like a younger voice, or I think it was actually a Valley girl, and I could do a Valley girl. So I went and did the Valley girl, and they paid me $35, and I was like, wait, what? What? That's insane. So I started really working and just asked the guys there how to do it and what I could do, and I just kept going over and learning and asking and learning and asking and learning. And then there were no agents in town, so I made a demo tape and cold called ad agencies on a schedule to get their business, which was mortifying and terrifying. And, you know, I was still in my teens, and I put on a little suit and walked around and, you know, door to door. And then I kept remaking my demo every few months, because the learning curve in the beginning is like this. That's the one piece of advice I would give you if you make a reel. Don't spend a lot of money on your first couple of reels, because your learning curve is like this, and you're going to be so much better in a matter of months, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I cannot put that out there. It's just not good. Yeah.
Is there one thing that you did early on where it actually clicked in, I can do this for a living? Was it the Valley Girl piece, or was it something else where you're in the booth, you've got the hands-on, like hour 3 or whatever, and you think, I can actually do this for a living and not have to worry about waiting tables?
Well, I started not in animation or games. I started doing car commercials, small market car commercials, and I realized there was a market for it, and they needed women who could do it well. And I was like, I can learn how to do that, so I did. You know, and I went to a fine arts high school. I got a big fat theater scholarship in college, but I didn't like the program. It didn't fit me. And I was singing in clubs at the time, and that was my passion. And then I went to Atlanta just to get more commercial work. Got my first audition for a film. I got the part, and I was like, okay, that makes sense to me, that kind of acting. And then I was just doing a lot of that, and you know, a lot of radio stuff as well. And I moved to LA for the on-camera stuff, and got my first audition for a cartoon, and I was never allowed to watch cartoons as a kid. My mom had very specific ideas about things, and all due respect. And my first audition, I made a VO tape just to make some cash after a couple years of struggling in LA. I was like, well, I'll do some commercial stuff, whatever. My first audition was for a cartoon series. It was Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego? And I booked it, and I was like, I don't even know how these things work. So I think the biggest key to my personal success has been the training that I've chosen and the discipline with which it has been applied. The training that I chose at that time was to jump into every single available, good, quality voice acting class I could find. And Dee Baker and I were in 2 of those classes together. And I like to say I stole him from his agent and took him to mine. He was amazeballs, and I loved him. And everything I know I learned from my teachers and my peers. So I found good training, and then I applied it on a consistent basis over a long period of time. You know, the other training that I had was acting, which is essential if you're going to do games, animation, even commercials, because now commercials are no longer that sort of presentational thing. You know, they're connected. People are really talking to you. You can't talk at somebody. You know, you have to talk to them. And you can't get away with that anymore. So, and the other piece of training that I did is from singing in clubs and not wanting to lose my voice. I took classical singing lessons, like opera. Not because that was my bent, but because I didn't want to lose my voice. And to this day, it has served me really well. Because in games, there's a lot of like, and you're yelling over helicopters and stuff, and you need that training to back you up. But it's like anything you want, because the truth is like in looking at me up here, I'm in a way the past. I'm the present as well, because I think I'm still working, and I'm the future because I continue to work. But you guys who want to do this are the future. So, what I would love to do is pass on the tips that help me and watch you take them further than I ever thought of. That's really what it's about. So.
Have you come across people who you've worked with? Because I haven't heard this in any of your projects, but vocal fry is something that I've seen a lot of female VO actors start to fall in the trap of. And if you're not familiar with vocal fry, that's it. It's like this weird thing that you basically twist the end of your words.
It's a cultural evolution. I tell you, in the when was that? Late 90s, early millennium, there was a trend of like, I'm invested, I care. We went from I'm presentational to I actually care. I really care. And then there came this whole weird sarcastic thing, like I don't care. You can buy it or not, you can do it or not, you can follow me or not, I don't care, And it's evolved into, vocal fry is just another form of, I'm too cool to really care. And the fact is, I'm a nerd, I care. I always have, always will. I will never pretend to not care. Fry is either that, it's a way of hiding. It's just a cultural trend. Everybody gets all up in arms about it. I'm like, let's look at the why, let's deconstruct it and figure out why it's there. It's simply a trend, there will be another. And let's not make too much of it. Shall we? Because it's annoying.
That's what scares me, is that what comes next will be worse.
No, there will be a bottom, and can't you guys feel it? No, seriously, can you not feel the cultural tension we live in right now? Yeah, right? It's there. Financial tension, cultural tension, political tension, global tension. Like, it's reaching a crazy peak out there. There will be a bottom. And Edward James almost said the greatest thing to me. He said, because for him, it's when the doo-doo hits the fan. For me, it's if. By the way, hi, Small. Hi, Small. I love the Smalls. The Small can sing. My nephews might be here somewhere. I love them, too. I don't know where they are. What was I saying? He made a brilliant point, which is that, as things get into this more and more tense situation, what matters not so much is what happens, it's people's response to what happens. And that's what I'm interested in. I mean, it's fun to talk about all the cool stuff and all the culture and all the this and that and the other, but we all know what really matters, and maybe we've forgotten a little bit and we think it's what we get and what we achieve, et cetera, but what really matters is that person and this place and this. And that's, I think, the more we pay attention to that, and there's a brilliant video, I think I tweeted it on the plane here, because it totally made me cry, in the best way. It's the DNA journey. Has anyone in here seen this video? Yes, I see head bobs. Pass that around, because it's the truth. You see these wonderful interviews with these people, and they're all like, there's this British guy going, yeah, I'm British, I'm only British, I only care about, and this other guy's Icelandic, he's like, I don't like Germans, I think they're really weird. I'm better than everyone, and you see all these other people like, I'm this, I'm loyal to my people, and they get their DNA tests back. And it actually maps out where they're from. And for most of us, it's the globe. We're all connected. That's the conversation I'm interested in so much right now. It's a very moving video. If you get a chance, check it out. But anyway, back to the conversation.
No, that is the conversation.
Yeah,
It's conversation.
Well, and I have a question. How many people in here are CERT trained? Oh, dear God.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody get your phones out. I'm serious, get your phones out.
It's not the Alma Draft House, you can have your
No,
phones.
we're going to get your phones out right now. Okay? And I want you to look up CERT. All right, anybody, who's got it? Okay, someone's got it. Community Emergency Response Team.
I'm trained.
You're trained. We've got a CERT member in the room. Well, you're a cop. Sorry to out you. I have such great respect.
Jeez, it's the fuzz.
Everyone in here needs to get CERT trained. I'm not kidding. I'm CERT trained. And everyone needs to do it. Do you guys promise me?
Yes.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes.
How about this? You get CERT trained. This is your commander. Get your butt CERT. All right. Will you do it?
Yes.
Come on. Will you do it?
Yes.
There we go. You know, and for those of us, please get CERT trained. You know, it's an extraordinary thing to do because then you can help people and you're not helpless and you understand what it is. If there's breakdown, you're empowered. You know, it's just another level of being a grown-up. And the thing about becoming more of a grown-up in every corner of your life is you don't ever stop being a kid. You just add to the collection. You know, that's all. You know, and then we could get into a whole financial conversation because that's my other place that I'm on my high horse with everybody about, you know, learning about money. Do you know the U.S., anybody in here know how our current educational system evolved? It was created in the Victorian Empire because they needed to figure out how to run a global empire from a tiny little island in the Atlantic, England, without computers, right? How do you do that? You create a giant human supercomputer. You standardize reading, writing, and arithmetic. What we're rewarded for in school is doing the right thing, following the rules, do not think outside the box, execute your orders. That is what you're trained for in school. How well does that serve you as an adult in the world? Yeah, because the 21st century, those things aren't available to us anymore. You see the schism, you see the split in the haves and the have-nots. And it's not some giant conspiracy, well, we'll talk about that, but it's simply that you haven't been given the tools. And you know, you weren't given the tools because no one realized they needed to give them to you. Because they thought everything was just going to stay the same. It has shifted so bloody fast, everyone's head's spinning. Like everything's turned on its head, right? So go out there and learn about money. It doesn't make you a bad person or less creative. I am fully empowered with money. And I am fully empowered with creativity. And now, in the 21st century, this is how we live. And it's awesome. Wouldn't you love to see more artists and creators having lots of financial power and lots of political power?
Yes.
Then go make it happen. Right? We're done. No.
It's hard to drop a table. If you have a question, please throw up your hand because I would love to get as many people a question and you removing for anybody else.
I'm so excited.
Damn right.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
I had a question because you covered what I was going to ask about jumping off point, all that stuff, because I'm interested in power. Oh. But something that I find frustrating is how they keep using like the Hollywood face actors as major animated feature voices, like Amy Poehler in Inside Out, everybody. Is that frustrating for your community? Because it's frustrating to me and I'm not even there yet.
Yeah, no, I think it is frustrating for the community. I don't spend a lot of time on what frustrates me because I treat my energy and my mental orientation with great care.
Okay.
And if I spend, because we are hardwired to look for the negative for very good reason, because we need to know where the tigers are and if we're going to be eaten. Yeah, we really do. And so if you find yourself constantly like fussing over stuff or worrying or finding yourself in the negative, that's absolutely how the human's wired to be, right? But we're at a point in our evolution where now we get to choose something additional and even more fun than that, which is let's look at what we want. And that's how I deal with that particular issue. I look at what I want. You also have to consider that those films are made by giant corporate institutions. Their relationship to risk is very clear. They don't like it. They go with what they think is known quantities. That's what's so wonderful about games and independent film and animation. Their relationship to risk is if you're not risky, you don't belong. You know, and that's where you get a lot of your fun stuff. That's why TV is such a leader right now. Because their relationship to risk is kind of murky, like, oh, we can take risks, we're TV, you know, we can suck. And so, lo and behold, that suck has birthed some brilliant stuff, you know, because they don't care.
Right.
But, you know, yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I saw somebody else moving. Yeah. You go.
Are you more Paragon or Renegade?
I always say Paragon is who I wish I was. Renegade is what I wish I could say.
Over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I love you in the Powerpuff Girls.
Thank you.
And one of my favorite episodes is the one where Miss King goes on a date with Professor Houstonian. I just wanted to know, who are your favorite other voice actors to work with?
Every single one of them. I love them all so much. They are just, like, truly, in the whole community, I can maybe think of one person who I'm like, oh, that was a lot of work. You know? They're extraordinary. I mean, good Lord, Kari, who's upstairs, Ray Delisle, you know, Mary and Steve and Richard and Jane, everybody who's here, Jim and Bill, I mean, like, Jim Cummings, Bill Farmer, you know, Rob Paulson, everyone, every single one of them, they're brilliant, and I have the talent I have today, because I work with them. You know, I learned from them. I mean, Frank Welker's or Jeff Bennett's, and our directors too, they're extraordinary. Yeah, so much fun.
Granted, you don't have to memorize your lines as a voice actress, but is there any dialogue from the many projects you've worked on that sticks in your mind that's memorable to you? And if, or alternatively, if there's no particular line of dialogue that's very memorable, which project has been most memorable?
Well, one of my favorite lines ever is, tell your friends we're coming for them. That's one of my favorites ever, but I did have a day where, I'm sure there's probably some Sophia the First fans in here. Yeah, I recorded a song. Has anybody heard the True Sisters? You could be, you can see, true sisters and ever after friends. It's a really sweet song, right? I did that in the morning, and then in the afternoon, who in here's played Diablo 3? If anyone's in the middle of a playthrough, plug your ears. Spoiler alert. So I did that in the morning. True, true sisters. In the morning, right? And then I go to my Diablo later in the record sessions in the afternoon, and I'm like, I will kill you and eat your soul. As I'm doing those lines, I go, true, true. Ringing in my ears. Wow, this is a great bit. So that would be one.
Eat stick in the dish.
Right? Jim Cummings used to do with.
Yeah. So did Paulson.
Yeah.
In video games, what would you say would maybe be like a dream franchise for you to be able to work with or work on?
Something new and independent where gender didn't factor in, where I got to play like the, you know, the Adama kind of role and sing. Battlestar Galactica the musical. I'm Adama. Sorry, Eddie.
Get Eddie on the horn. You should do a donation to Surfrider. I'm sure he'll be happy.
Have that as
Blue
well.
shirt.
First off, hi again.
Hi, how are you? Nice to
See
see
you
you.
today. What would you say has probably been your proudest achievement in voice acting?
Oh my goodness. Having a career. Staying sane. Being in the New Yorker was pretty awesome. I think being a person who breaks down walls. Busting the glass ceiling where we got FemShep on the box before that. And I shouldn't even say we, because you guys did that. You guys did that. You made that happen. And I was so grateful to be just the front of the arrow on that one, because without the rest of the arrow, it doesn't happen. It's just brilliant. And then, you know, then further being asked to voice Creme and characters like that, that's just extraordinary. Yeah, that's what I'm interested in. As you can tell, probably. I'm not much into like shoe conversations and stuff. I'm more like, okay, how do we change the world? How do we save this boat? How do we turn this boat in the right direction? You know.
The gender issue and equality in gender for actors is front and center, has been for about the last 3 or 4 years, both positively and negatively, obviously. Is there something that the industry could do that would be more subversive to make that change? Or does it have to be pitchforks and torches to, you know, say, make this a better environment for vocal actors?
There's 2 things we can do. Number one, we need to realize we're on our way to better already. And I think you don't motivate people. Yes, you need to stomp your feet and go, this is BS, this has to change. And when people change, you need to look at them and go, nicely done. More of that, that's awesome. People need to hear when they're on the right track. It's like dog training. Yes, good. They need to hear that. We all do. Because behavior at its most basic, you're dealing with neuronal patterning, right? And you need to acknowledge, yes, correct pattern, excellent, bad pattern, okay, And I think I would love to see gender removed from casting. I'd love to see all ethnical references obviously removed from casting. If you can do that, do it. Be brilliant. Wherever you can, do it. The big one thing too is when you see a limitation out there. I think this is it's probably really damned annoying if you're around me, but it's also one of my favorite qualities I think I have. However the heck I came across it, which you show me a limitation, I'm like, oh really? I don't think so. I didn't see it. Sorry, was there a limitation there? I missed it. And when I hear people go, well, it's really hard to, I'm like, just stop right there. Because the unconscious mind operates like a computer, right? It does. It does not know the difference empirically between positive and negative instruction. It simply executes your orders. When you're like, I can't, blah, 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 it goes, okay, and aligns all other choices you're unaware of to affirm what you just said, yes. So when you want something, you need to go, I'm excited and grateful about this. I'm excited and grateful I'm on my way to that. I'm excited and grateful this is happening in the world. Because thoughts are things. Anybody in here ever read Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich? Yeah, put it on your list. Remember, we're all supposed to get really good with this stuff so we can affect the world in a positive way. From a powerful place and not complain we're not in power. Okay? No complaining allowed. I'm freaking sick and tired of complaining. It is just a plague upon this earth. Knock it off. It's a cultural habit. It's very accepted. It's culturally unacceptable to speak the way that I speak, but I really don't care. Because this is the new world. Yeah.
You.
I'm
No,
gonna
you're
do
looking
today.
around at you.
I just want to say I really love the Tales games, and Sheena is one of my favorites.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be a part of just such a big series?
It's amazing. When I started doing games, I didn't know any of this stuff was going to be what it's going to be. I was just happy to have a job, and I show up in my job. I had a long talk with a friend of mine early in my career. He said we worked it out together. I swear to God, he just told it to me, and I'm grateful ever since. That when you go into anything you're doing from the best part of yourself, even if you're cleaning a countertop, you put out an energy that affects the world. So I go into every job I do very aware that who I'm being is going to affect any space I'm in, whether you're hearing it later or whatever. So I went into games that way, and a lot of other actors honestly were like, I'm not doing that, that's way too much work. Because an animation session, you go in and it's 4 hours typically, sometimes 6, but typically 4 hours, and you're scheduled, unless you're doing dubbing, which is where you revoice an already produced cartoon. But normally we go in when we record, and we are a team. We all share the load. It's his line, it's their line, it's her line, it's my line. In a game, it is a 4-hour one-person show. And you are on. You do not get that script ahead of time. You better just make a decision and make it work in the moment. It's called cold reading, right? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, I'll do it. They're paying me, I'm there. So it's been incredible what it has grown into. It's extraordinary, yeah, to be a part of that.
Right here.
Have you ever felt when you did a voiceover, ever had a role that you just felt you nailed from the beginning?
Yeah, I've had things that I connected to very clearly. Shepard was one, Cinderella was another, Thorn, bunches of them I've connected with. I've also connected with bunches that I didn't get cast in. I was like, are you kidding? That was such an amazing audition. And I see who they booked, and I'm like, oh my God, she's incredible. Okay. I don't believe in competition. I think the 21st century belongs to cooperation. Everybody goes around spouting off about survival of the fittest, that whole thing. If you actually read the text, which I have not, but I'm relying heavily on my friend Chris Brown, a brilliant director who has a couple times, and she says that cooperation is cited, I think, over 250 times in that same text. Well, the 21st century does not belong to competition, it belongs to cooperation. I believe there's enough to go around for everyone, You need to cheer on your fellow people because they're your team, even if you think they're your competition.
I saw some hands over here. You're right here.
First off, thank you for dealing with me yesterday when I was crying trying to talk to you.
That was not dealing at all. That was authentic and beautiful.
What color do you want to dye your hair next?
I added some purple in, and I'm just gonna stick with my purple and blue because the blue kind of fades to green sometimes. I love it. Yeah, thank you. I got this actually, Guild Wars brought me into PAX South, I think over a year and a half ago. And they sprayed crimson into my hair, and I was like, oh. This is happening when I get home.
It's addictive.
It is so addictive. I see your, well.
No.
Hair brush right over it. I'm telling you.
I burned every one of these. My wife put half of them there.
So a lot of television and like movie actors get a chance to play off of each other's energy and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
As a voice actor, do you ever get an opportunity to do that before you go in to do the lines?
No, rarely. Probably about 5% of the time. It's a tiny bit more. Like I just did Masquerada with Matt Mercer and Courtney Taylor and Graham Hamilton, and we got to record in pairs, which was lovely. But that's very rare. Like Metal Gear, Dave and I got to work together a lot, which was great because we've been friends for, good Lord, 21 years now. And yeah, sometimes it's very rare, but and then sometimes on the Mass Effect stuff, they have a system called Veda. It's a proprietary system where if the person who's in the scene with you, not really with you, but technically with you, has been in to record before you, they can play you their lines. But usually I was the first one. Not very often. And some of the ending stuff, although not about a third, quarter of the time, that ending stuff with Keith David, I love those scenes. But 99% of the time I'm alone. Yeah, it's in here. And that's really the process for those of you who are in voice acting and you're recording alone. You really need to break, it's just basic Stanislavski, Udo Hagen, Meisner, whoever you study, acting stuff. It's like, who am I? How do I move through the world? Where am I? What do I want? Who just said something? What's my relationship to them? What's my relationship to them in this moment? Where are we on the story timeline? What did they just say? This is my response. And all that has to happen like that. But it's like tennis though, or learning any sport, you do, or martial art, you do it enough times and you just have to go slowly so you get it in the right sequence and then you're like, and you're there.
And that's one of the things that I think is a lost art in direction for VO is, if you've got the right person in a booth and you're following somebody else, as the lead in there, you're basically giving the direction for everybody else when they're hearing your playback. But directors are just rock stars if they get it right the first time.
And you have to be prepared if they don't, and you cannot complain if they don't, because complaining doesn't get a damn thing done.
And it affects your next booking too.
And it stinks up the space, really. I say that to my child all the time, you're stinking up the space, knock it off. I love you, knock it off. Yeah, your job is to, and sometimes a director can't do it because they thought they could, and they didn't realize the missing piece of human communication that they needed to be able to accomplish the job. Your job is not to shame them or correct them. Your job is to simply fill in the blanks, and they will start to understand what they did not know. And you will raise, my command, if you will, to all of you is raise the level wherever you go. Not by what you tell people to do. Don't do that. That's annoying. But by who you are being. Just be. And you know what I'm talking about. You all know. I don't have to tell you, right? Yeah.
Right?
Me?
Yeah.
2 things. First off, my mom and I played through the Mass Effect games together.
Oh.
I played through on my own beforehand as a male Shepard, but then we played together as female Shepard.
Yes.
And it was so much fun.
Oh.
Even though when we started the second game, we were near to the end and the PS3 broke, so we had to start over again.
Oh.
I went through it and played all the DLC, and it was really, really fun.
Oh, so good. Did your mom like it?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
A quick question. Have you ever dressed up as Commander Shepard?
I have not. I have
Would you like
not. Someday I will. Yeah. There might have been a secret. I don't often dress up as my characters, but there might have been a moment somewhere that didn't happen in Orlando where I didn't end up looking like Cinderella for a little while.
And there weren't colors at all.
No. Because that would be really illegal.
Well, the Disney
To
lawyers.
Disney, oh yeah.
right?
And listen, I obey the Disney lawyers.
They are legion.
Right?
Who would win in a fight between the crew of the Evan Hawk and the Normandy?
Normandy.
Yeah.
Are you
Don't
kidding me?
finish the question. Let's see.
I think we have one over here.
Oh, wait, good eye.
Sorry. If you could romance anybody from Mass Effect, who would you romance?
Do I have to pick? That's what I always say. Garrus and Liara?
Yeah.
No, you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I thought you had your hand
We have
up,
a
sorry.
couple on this.
Front.
Can we get you to say, I'm Commander Shepard and this is my favorite store in the city?
I should go.
Her day rate is X.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite con on the city.
Really quick, can I get you to say, hi Pam?
I'm Commander Shepard, and I'm saying, hi, Pam.
She is not your monkey. Do not make her work right now. Let's see. There are a lot of people here who enjoy your work both in film and in video games, one or the other. Is there a medium that you would prefer if you had to basically get funneled into, okay, I'm only going to do game VO, I'm only going to do animation VO, I'm only going to sing for the rest of my life?
Singing. I mean, I hate, oh God. I have a business degree, and I remember sitting in, I think it was statistics class or one of those, and I loved statistics. I was good at it. And I remember thinking to myself, I can't do this. I'll go crazy if I have to sit in one place and do one thing for my whole life. And I carved out a space where I didn't have to. But I worked it, you know? I mean, diligence is the key to having what you want. Think about it. It's not the balance of the universe to say, I want it, and it's there. That's just hollow. It's not how it works. And that's not to say you have to suffer either. Lord, don't suffer. That's just a pain in the butt. And to be around as well, you know, but apply and enjoy the application of the fight to get what you want. And a friend of mine was in a coma a long time ago, and he was on life support, like he was supposed to die, and we saved him. And he kept dreaming, he said, about the meaning of life. And this is not a woo-woo esoteric human at all. And he said he kept having these dreams about the meaning of life, and he was like, he'd go outside and it was written on a poster board, but he couldn't remember what the poster board said, and I was like, no! And months later after his recovery, he's like, I remembered. I was like, what did it say? And he goes, just be happy. I was like, what? Really unsatisfying. And he was like, no. He said, but it wasn't that simple. It was, first you have to find the thing at that space in your life that makes you happy. Then you go through the process of getting it, and then you feel that happy, and then you go do it again. That's it. I was like, okay, that makes more sense. That was 20 years ago, and now I'm like, you know what? Bang on. It's right on, you know?
Jennifer, it is an absolute gas to have you here. Thank you so much for coming out to Fan Expo Dallas. It's an absolute treat. Jennifer Hale, ladies and gentlemen.